The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What is up, and welcome to another episode of the Voices of the Black and Gold, your go-to podcast for all things LAFC. I'm your host, Nick. Of course, we have Andrew here. Our friend Will's going to stop by, and we got to talk about Decision Day. Decision Day was the day. I thought we were going to make it up a little higher on the Western Conference list, but you know what? We stayed in third place, so we're going to break that down. Was not the game that we expected against Colorado, or the game that we were expected. I always say that we just don't play well against Colorado, but the game that was most frustrating was the one against Austin, and we got to talk about it because that is who we are going to play our first playoff game against. Andrew, let me bring in Will in there. Andrew, I mean, you know, look, we lose against Austin, which was a game I believe we could have won. Go to Colorado, and you know, we just look. It was complete dolo ball. Let's just be honest. We were back. We were back to hitting it back and forth, trying to push a little forward. Boom, straight back to the keeper. It was not what we have seen the 6 games that we were on that roll.
No, all three of us have said at some point in the last couple of weeks our wins were in spite of dolo, and for the people that haven't seen it, that this is just classic what dolo ball is, just stubborn, rigid, refuse to acknowledge the situation that you're in and just kind of operate this team in an alternate reality. And it wasn't the best feeling going into playoffs with this. I still don't think it changes much for us, but you really wanted that momentum, and you really wanted to see, you know, something from this coaching staff as well as the team.
Momentum isn't something that we're rolling into, and I honestly believe that we could have won every single one of those games. When us three were on here and we were talking, we had 5 games left. We looked at the schedule, Will, and I said, hey, we can win all these games. I did not expect Austin FC to be one that we lost, although, yes, players missing, and that sucks, but so did other teams. LAFC should have walked away with that win, but to go to Colorado and walk away with a draw feels just as disappointing as that loss in Austin, to be fair.
Yeah, you know, you look at it, and if they had won these last 2 games, they'd be first spot in the Western Conference, control their own destiny. You would have had to go through BMO to win the Western Conference. That's how it would have went through, right? And now I'm not really worried about them beating Austin. I think they will beat Austin, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. I think they'll be fine. They've lost 2 games this year to them, they haven't beaten them this year, but that's without Son Heung-Min, so I really wouldn't put too much stock into that. But the scary thing is that they have a really good chance that they're going to face Vancouver in the semifinals. So they're going to probably have the toughest opponent in the playoffs that you can possibly face in the next round, not even the final. So it's just disappointing because if they had finished in the first place, they wouldn't have had to play them until the Western Conference final if it got to that point for Vancouver. So it just feels like a missed opportunity. It feels like a missed opportunity, and even without their star players, they should have beaten Austin.
Yeah, they should have. And not having star players, to Will's point, we haven't played Austin with Son being on part of this team. And so I think that's going to be definitely something that's going to make a difference in the playoffs, Andrew. But LAFC ends the season, or the season 17-8-9, finishing 3rd in the West. I mean, I remember in the middle of the season, we were sitting in 6th and 5th, fluctuating back and forth, and we were really concerned at one point before we even got Son. But how would you describe the overall LAFC performance in this decision day, Andrew?
I think it was disappointing. I do think finishing third, the way the bracket kind of came out, it was best case scenario for us. So I do feel like that path is going to be the best for us. The Austin game, we all had hoped for a win. I think we all kind of knew what it was really going to be like with our stars gone. You would have hoped to have seen a little bit more creativity, a little bit more offensive production out of the bench players that you want to see going into the playoffs. And it just didn't exist for whatever reason. Dolo doesn't want Martinez out there. He doesn't, he isn't playing Moran, the full minute, or Moran. Oh my God, too soon. But as far as the Colorado game, that was just a brain fart by Lloris. It was just it was a sad thing, and then Dolo Ball took over from there. I'm probably going to harp on it a couple times now, but really Timothy Tillman in that role that he's in just feels like a waste of a spot in the starting 11. It just feels like he has no purpose in that team. He's not pulling away from defenders. He's just kicking it back to the defenders. I really wanted to see some more firepower from our offense going into the playoffs, knowing that we're going to have to outscore people with our defense.
Yeah, so Andrew touched on a couple of things, and I'm going to go off script here because it's some things that we actually do need to talk about, right? But Will, I want to get your take on that real quick. How would you describe LAFC's overall performance on Decision Day match, real quick, and then I want to talk about a couple of things that he just talked about.
Well, I think it was a little disappointing not to see Moran play in this game. I don't know how much longer we have to wait to take the training wheels off and make him a full-time starter on this team. I mean, he's on loan. I feel like it's been several weeks now. He's played well when he's on the pitch. I don't know what Dolo's waiting for. He's 21 years old, so don't give me he's fatigued or he's tired or, he's been playing. He's just not starting. And so it's Dolo cannot help himself. He can't do what's right. He just does what he wants to do. He keeps starting Tillman, Delgado, Chouanier, and it just doesn't work. There's no creativity. Delgado and Tillman just don't do it as far as moving the ball forward and creating chances. And one thing that's a little concerning, Nick, is it just shows you that if it weren't for these two guys, this team would be in a world of trouble. No one else is stepping up. Nobody else is stepping up. And Moran could be that guy who could do it, but Dolo's not giving him the chance to do it.
So here I go. I'm going straight into it again, going off script here, but I just don't understand why Moran didn't start. And Andrew hit on it a minute ago. Okay, well, we started Tillman. And I was telling Will about this, Andrew, and this is honestly how I feel. When we first started changing the formation, Tillman was up there. And I think I'm not going to speak for everyone. Me, myself, I felt like he did really well that first time that we changed the formation. But the problem is now we've changed it, and it almost puts him, this is Will's words, and I actually am going to echo it because I think it was a great way to put it. He doesn't know if he's in the midfield, if he's in the front three. He's almost in that middle spot. It's almost like a half spot. He's not sure which one he's supposed to be at times, so he gets a little lost, and it's almost like he can't really play with Delgado because they're so similar. And I agreed with what Will said there because I see that. But what bothers me that you both just touched on is now we have Moran, and Moran comes in, and what does he do? He scores. And he is a huge talent. So why don't we start him? Is Tillman really outperforming Moran? No, he is not. And that is what bothers me about Dolo Ball. It's something I don't understand. Okay, we believe that Tillman will outplay Dueñas, or he's outplaying, Ordaz, and he's outplaying Martinez. Fine. I can actually get behind that personally. But Moran? No way. No way. This kid's stock is so high in my book. Maybe I'm overhyping him, fellas, but he came in and he scored. I mean, make it make sense to me, Andrew. How is this kid not starting? And to finish my rant, I also don't understand why Smallskoff isn't starting.
Yeah.
Why is Hollingshead getting the start over him? Those two guys deserve to be the starter in every single playoff game that we have for the rest of the year. Dolo has to take a back seat and understand that is our path. Sorry,
no. This is just a Dolo narcissistic ego pull. It's not talent based. Not to go back to the Bradley days, but it almost reminds me of how Bradley was with Mark Anthony Kaye, where like the guy couldn't do anything on the field, but he was a consistent starter.
Do anything wrong
before Bradley, it wasn't renewed. So I don't get the Tillman thing. Just like Will said, him and Delgado are the same player. When he started the first couple games up there, he was fine, but it's what Tillman does. He has a good couple games. He's never been consistent. He's never been consistent wherever he is. He might be good with the ball at his feet, but he's not creative. He works in the Dolo bland midfielder kind of position, but to put him up there in the wing, if Martinez is in the doghouse, fine. You've started Ordaz over Martinez, but before on that wing, you have a Bobasis that you can fit in there with those people. Like it is a crime, and clearly Chouanier and him, like he's doing the same thing as that midfield, but just in an attacking space. And you didn't see it too much with Austin, but like in Colorado, you could feel that defense didn't care who was on whatever side Tillman was playing on. Everyone was just focused on Bouanga and Son. What really, though Bouanga and Son can play off each other very well, it works because there's another attacker that will actually shoot the ball, not pass it back to whatever midfielder or defender is behind the half line all over again. The Hollingshead things, whatever, to me, it's going to be Smolyakov. It will be. They invested in Smolyakov. I think everybody knows it and feels it that it's only a matter of time. But you could see Hollingshead getting gassed, right at the start of the second half. He just doesn't have that full 70 anymore that Dolo likes to do. And then his subs, it's 70. He doesn't have it, but he's not so much of a problem for me as much as Tillman is. I mean, you were watching our defense getting gassed. I will give credit to Colorado because they are a better team on paper than what their play really is, and that they could be something next year. So it's sad that they didn't make the playoffs, but I mean, Paxton had those guys on skates. Like everybody was out hustling that defense. There was no speed on the field, and that was my issue with Austin as well, is that there was no speed. There was no attacking anything on that field. That there was no semblance of it. But to get back to Colorado, Tillman was my biggest thing. It felt like such a cop-out. It feels like such a cop-out to have Tillman there and to not know that if Martinez is in the doghouse, not saying he doesn't deserve to be in the doghouse a little bit for his effort, but it's just inexcusable on decision day when you have X amount on the line to come out with the I'm stubborn Steven Cherundolo lineup. I couldn't give a more perfect send-off to him of a playing for a tie in a defensive game with a lineup that doesn't make sense when it matters most.
I mean, Will, he's pretty much saying almost everything you said on the thing about Tillman. Like you, after the game, you were like pretty down on Tillman. And I said, man, for me, it's a little bit more on Delgado. And then I listened to what you said and I rewatched it. And it is very true. They are very similar players. And it's almost like he's getting lost and doesn't know, well, do I pass it to Delgado and let him do the work, or should I be up top? You caught me off guard with it, and I went back and watched it, and everything you said was absolutely true.
Yeah, I just don't think Tillman's a fit for this team right now, and they are too similar.
But
and
Will, he just signed an extension.
I know. But here's the thing, though. I've seen several players in MLS sign an extension and they get traded still, so I wouldn't say that it's impossible for him to be moved off of. But one of the things that frustrates me too when you're watching this team is all three of us have seen them at their height with Son and like what they can do and with him and Denis. And it feels like when Tillman Delgado are on the pitch, they're just like pass back FC. and it just kills the attack. There's just nothing to build up. It's just hard to watch, and it just feels like they are holding this team back from its true potential. And I want to hit on this again. Tillman is not a terrible player. It's just when you have him on the field with Delgado, they're not good together. They're just playing this. They're too similar, and you can't have two of the same guys like that on the pitch together. It's a Dolo issue. Like I said, and Andrew said this, Dolo can't help himself. He has an arrogance and ego about himself that he knows better ball than anyone else, and that this will work, and we'll just keep doing it. And like you said about Ryan Hollingshead is his boy. I think if we were talking to him off the record, hell, maybe even on the record, he would say, yeah, I would prefer Ryan Hollingshead over Smoliakov. That's my guy. But we all know that the ceiling's low with him. The ceiling's really high with Smoliakov, and he just can't help himself. He needs to pick a starting 11, roll with it, and stop tinkering with it in the last week of the season. This would have been an important game for Moran to get in there, build some chemistry with the starting 11, heading into the playoffs, and see what he could do in a full 90 with Denis and Son Heung-Min. If I'm not mistaken, have they even played 90 minutes, all three of them together yet?
No.
That's embarrassing. How is that even possible? He's played like 6 games and he still hasn't played a full 90 with his 2 most important teammates. And that is all pinned on Dolo for not playing him and starting him and building some chemistry with these 3 guys. And I think, and I said this a couple weeks ago, watching Moran, he's not the best player on this team, but he is the Moran. Yeah, Moran. He is the X factor on this team, though. I think he could be the difference maker. If we know Denis and Sony is going to play well, he could be the difference maker that makes this team a semifinal team to an MLS Cup winning team.
I agree with that 100%. So let me ask you guys a question, because we are all being pretty rough on Tillman, but since he signed the extension, is Delgado gone? And we're looking at the future with Tillman?
I don't think so. To Will's point as well, people sign extensions all the time in this league. Jordi Alba signed an extension this year, and then he just said, "Hey, I'm retiring." I do think he has a spot on this team. I don't hate Tillman. I hate the role that they're putting Tillman in right now. It just he is a great role player, but we don't need someone like that on the wing. Like, keep what, and you can tell he's getting confused, and Dolo's done this with people over time. He uses people in a lot of different positions, and Bogus was the outlier where, he adapted. He wasn't confused. He didn't do it. But when you ask a lot of these players in different positions, it does cause a bit of confusion. And the last thing a player like Timothy Tillman needs to do is get confused. He is in that boring midfield role where you make your same 3 passes, you keep the ball at your feet, you juke one player, you pass it out to Palencia. Like you don't even kick it down the middle for Sony. You just either go directly back to Segura or Porteous or Tafari, who's ever on that side, wherever he is. So it's not such a knock on Tillman, but it's more just like, what the hell are we doing when we have Moran here, when we have Martinez here? Whether or not you like him, like, let him work it out right now. Let him work it out in Austin. Let him work it out, in the second half, once we realize we're not going to finish anything better than third. But then you put the same stupid subs on that the Dolo does all the time with the same people, Smoliakov not included. I mean, like Yaya Boa and those kind of players. I don't love it. And to speak on what I just read in the chat about Delgado, I think Delgado's in the exact same position as Tillman is. I don't think there's any future with Tillman. I think both are kind of at their ceiling, and one's just been doing this a little bit longer. I prefer Delgado's experience. I prefer Delgado because he'll rip a shot, from outside the 18, where Tillman won't. It's just completely toothless when Tillman goes up top.
My problem with Delgado is his sloppy passes. And he makes a lot of sloppy passes, Will. Like, and I really, I'm hearing what Andrew is saying, and he's saying, look, if there is one player, I would prefer to have a Delgado over a Tillman because he takes the shots. But for me, his passing is so sloppy at times. It's just like he's out there and he forgets that he's in a competitive game, and he's just like, oh, I'll just barely pass it. It's like, no, bro, put some in that and get it to the player so we can move it forward. You know what I mean? I don't know, Will. Am I like who are you thinking that LAFC should have? Should it be Delgado or Tillman in this playoff run that we have? Because once you have one on, you're going to have to sub them off for the other at some point, but we don't need to have both them on the pitch at the same time.
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of either of them. I don't think Delgado's ever been the same since they gave him that shout out at the Galaxy game where
it's been different.
I think that really messed him up mentally ever since that happened, because he loved LA. He loved playing for the Galaxy. He felt at home, and then kind of, they were kind of forced to get rid of him. And I don't think he wanted to leave the Galaxy. No offense to LAFC, but I think he was content and wanted to stay there. And then I think he kind of was, business as usual, playing really well. And then they hit that on him where they gave him that, that celebratory video of him winning MLS Cup and kind of like hitting him in the fields. And I think
threw him under the bus a little bit and made him look bad in front of all of us.
Yes.
That's actually a good point right there.
I just don't think he's truly ever recovered from that. Not this season. I mean, that was only like 5 or 6 months ago. I know that some people might say, oh, he needs to be over that. But I mean, we're all humans. I think that really did mess him up. And then he just kind of never been the same. Not to say he's been the worst player I've seen, but he was playing a lot better at the beginning of the season before that. And it's noticeably different since that happened. And then Tillman is just limited. I'll be honest with you. I just don't really see a high ceiling with this three midfield. Choinière is probably my favorite of those three. But Moran is the guy. He's the ceiling guy. Like, that is like the type of player you're thinking, okay, this is a bona fide championship contending team midfield. Tillman and Delgado are very mid. They're just very low ceiling guys. And if you're asking me who I would play over who, it's tough because they're just so similar. I honestly, that's another thing too, Nick, is I wish that, Dolo would have had the foresight to play Moran with Delgado one game, then play Moran with Tillman one game. So that way we could see who is better with that trio instead of, because I don't know, it's a chemistry thing. But we don't get a chance to see that. So I would say that because Moran normally plays on the right side of the midfield anyway, and then Delgado plays on the left side, probably would start off with Delgado and Moran. And if Delgado shits the bed, then you probably give Tillman a chance.
Yeah, I mean, Dolo has to figure something out, and for me, I put it all on him. I really do. I'm sorry. Like, there's no way that Moran doesn't start that game for me. Like, I'm dead serious. There's no possible way. And even if it isn't the full 90, Will, to your point, like what you were just saying about making Moran, Choinière, and then having the Tillman there, and then subbing off maybe even a half of seeing how Delgado, and just comparing the two halves to say, oh, they play better to get whatever it is. I would have liked to seen that too. I think you're actually onto something, and I believe that. But what we did get to see is we got to see Mr. Sonny come back. He did end up bagging a goal, assist by Bouanga. Bouanga obviously didn't get the golden boot. And it looked like he was chasing it for a little bit, even knowing that he wasn't going to get it. You seen he was out there working hard, and it was like he was sort of overworking. And at some point you just felt like, man, neither one are getting the ball a lot. But when Bouanga does get the ball, he's trying to shoot to try to maybe catch up a little bit. And then it felt like Son was chasing the ball down to try to get a little bit of touches in, right? And boom, we finally seen a beautiful goal from him. It was good that he finally did get a goal that game. 9 goals for the time that he's been here, so he gets right back on track of scoring. What did you think about the goal when the one that he made in, Andrew?
I thought it was beautiful. It's poetic to watch what he does to defenders once they know they're going to get scored on. It is the biggest oh shit moment. Just to watch in people's mechanics and footwork on the field. Like, they don't know if he's going with his left foot or his right foot. They don't know if he's going to stop and pull up or speed past him. It's a beautiful thing to watch. With Bouanga with that assist too. Like, it was a beautiful play all the way around.
It almost was like it clicked. I'm not going to catch him, so let me try to make some assists, Will. And I did. I agree. I thought the assist was a really beautiful assist, but the goal just made the whole sequence a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I thought the goal was just clinical. Lefty, Sonny. It was like the goalkeeper spins, what I call it, because like the goalkeeper, it comes at him and they can't even believe it went in. Like he like turns around to make sure, like, to check the back of the net and see if it went in. That's what Zach Steffen did after he shot it. Just because it was just, I mean, it was a pretty tough shot. I don't think most players are making that at that angle. It was just clinical for Son Heung-Min. That's the positive, man, is just to see that after 2 games off, see them still have that little bit of chemistry. Like nothing is halted, but still, hopefully if for LAFC's sake that they can continue that and that they can play. I'm curious too, like, just to ask you guys, were you content with Denis? I mean, he didn't score obviously, and he didn't win the Golden Boot. But like, were you content with his play in that game, or were you a little disappointed?
For me, he felt tired, and yeah. I think that's understandable, right? Like, he's one of the players that has to travel the furthest out of any of the MLS teams of a player that is going to be with their national team. And so, we've seen him do crazy things, fly 15 hours, jump on a plane with LAFC to travel and go and play. Like, he does that. But I thought the assist was great. Again, I felt like he was looking to try to get, catch up a little bit on the goals, because I think now is 4 goal difference or whatever. And it felt like he was trying to catch up, but then you've seen that point where it was like, there's absolutely no way. So now I'm going to be looking for the assist. And he wanted to win that game. You've seen the desire to want to win, but rightfully so, he looked tired. And I think it's good that LAFC has this little bit of a break to let him get, a little bit of rest and his legs back underneath him before we hit these playoffs. But I definitely feel like Son has elevated him and the rest of the team to a different level. And I think the 6 games before they left, you've seen what Bouanga can really do with somebody that really, as we've talked about before, supports him and gives him that extra to really go after it. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried at all. What about you, Andrew?
I'm not worried. I think, realistically, if people were watching the Miami game, I think as a team, everyone's probably watching what was going on. And I think it's probably a little bit of a gut punch to see just Messi completely go off when, a lot of things had fallen into place before then. So I could imagine it took a bit of toll. The desire to win and his work rate, what was there, whether or not he had to be like dead on and score 5 or 6 goals at this point in the season. I was happy with what him and Son showed in spite of Dolo.
Yeah. LAFC reached 500 goals faster than any team in MLS history. How big is this milestone for a club, Andrew?
I think it's a big one. I think it shouldn't come as a surprise to many once stats like this pop up for who we are as a team and what our style of play was for so long and, kind of is now. So it was a good feeling. I think records are meant to be broken, and I think we'll hold on to this one for a little bit of time, hopefully. A lot of the newer teams have had a bit of a drop off after their first year, so we'll see how it goes for the rest of the league. But I'll take it for it. I love it.
I mean, Will, you're someone that covers the whole entire league. And, to Andrew's point, when you first come in, you do have a big drop off. LAFC has sort of been consistent all the way through. They hit 500 goals faster than any other team in MLS history. How big of a milestone is that for this club, you believe?
I mean, it's cool, but I mean, I think trophies are better. You know, I'd rather have 450 goals and 3 MLS Cups in the trophy cabinet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I mean, they played, like you said, a sexy style of ball since day one with Bob Bradley, high scoring teams. I think they still have the MLS record, their 2019 team for the most goals in a season, or maybe it was tied with either the Galaxy or Miami last year. But still, either way, they're like tied, or they have first place most goals scored in a season in 2019. It's cool though that the brand of ball is they want to score, but you know, to counter that point though, I would say it might be even higher. Hell, they could have been 600 if it wasn't Dolo coaching, because we know that he's not playing inspiring ball. If it was like a Bob Bradley-esque manager the last 3 years, style-wise, hell, they'd probably have 600 goals.
No, that's true, and you can't deny that. And hell, they possibly would have more trophies in that case also. You know what I mean? Yeah. There might be less losses in the finals, but they reached them, and so we got to worry about closing the door. We got to worry about making sure that we are the ones that walk away with those trophies. But this has been Son's first half of a season with LAFC. What do you guys take from his regular season for overall so far? I think it's 9 games that he ended up playing with LAFC. What do you think about the first 9 games? We're not talking about the playoffs, because whatever he does in the playoffs is going to be different from the regular season. But when you look back at these 9 games and you say, wow, he came in and he did all this, what do you take away from that, Andrew?
I think it's a home run. I think everything's been best case scenario from off the field to on the field. The 9 goals in 9 games, just to come in and not including his assists in the way he's helped with this team. I think it's been as good of a signing as could have gone for us. I couldn't be happier with that signing as of right now.
Will?
Let's just say when it's all said and done, he'll probably have 2 statues at the stadium. Maybe. I think he could. You know, when you think about it too,
how cool would that be? One on the outside, one on the inside?
Yeah, maybe one on the north side, one on the south side. But one of the things about him too, it's impressive to me, is I think you could make an argument he's the best player in the league. You know, Messi is right up there with him, but you have to think about this. Messi has had a team built around him. Like Messi says, I need this, I need that. You know, we got to go get this guy. Son just plugged and played in this team. He didn't get to say, I want this guy. He hasn't picked his coach yet. So he's just kind of fit into he's just a puzzle piece or a cog in the machine right now. And the fact that he's been able to contribute like what he has. And also too, I don't think enough people realize this. He's good enough to play as a striker or up top, but his natural position's on the wing. So he's not even really playing the position he's played the last decade for Tottenham, where he kind of, you know, can play as that inverted winger and you know, have take a shot or set guys up. He's been playing as like almost a true striker with LAFC. So I feel like if they can get a manager who can play him at his strengths, get better players around him, and get a system that fits his style, who the hell knows what this guy can do? I mean, this is the biggest signing in club history. And he's been worth every day. He's the record, by the way, most expensive signing in league history, worth every damn penny.
Says, don't compare Son with Messi. Well, they're going to hate what I'm about to say. I got to be honest with you, buddy, because I second that. I believe that it has been an absolute fantastic signing for LAFC and for MLS. And if we want to talk about stats and everything and what, look, Messi is going to go down as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And I understand that. Okay. I really do. And we're not comparing him to prime Messi. I'm not saying that. But when it comes to idol, when it comes to icon status, there is an argument to say that Son has as many fans that follow him as Messi does. And I know that's about to freak some people out, and they're going to really probably nail me in the comments and tell me how much of an idiot I am. But just let me put this in perspective for you real quick. Son outsold LeBron James and Messi in jerseys, and that's only in the United States. They didn't even have it open in Korea. Had it been open in Korea, it would have been double to triple the amount that either one of those has sold. And I'm talking about Messi, and I'm talking about LeBron James. he would have sold 2 to 3 times the amount that them two have sold had they opened it up during the time that they were counting when he came in the league. The kit dropped, but they didn't. They wanted to keep it close, and he still outsold those guys. That is what type of icon this guy really is when it comes to the Asian community, when it comes to what he is really bringing. So, yes, I understand. Don't compare the two because Messi has done a lot. And I'm with you. He's always been someone that I've said, man, he's an amazing player. But Son brought a lot. He truly did. And it's been a little swept under the rug a little bit to say, hey, he beat a LeBron James in jersey sales in the United States. Oh, he beat a Messi in kit sales in the United States. That's actually a big damn deal. Like it really is. And if they opened up in Korea, you're really talking about a ton. Like that's incredible. You know what I mean? So I think what JT and them did was incredible. And I think it was worth every penny. And I am excited to see what he does next season. I mean, I'm excited to see what he does in the playoffs. I think he's going to be incredible. But if he does get to have a say-so in a coach or, hey, bring in a buddy of mine, how cool would that be to see who it is going to say, hey, you know, this is who he asked to bring in to help us achieve our next goals. You know what I mean? Like, I'm excited for the future for LAFC, and I think John did a great job in closing the deal. And we all know it was John because at first Son was not really interested to come to MLS, and he said that John made the pitch that really said, I think I'll do that. I think I'll try that. I think this is what I'm going to end up doing. And so all kudos to John on that. And I mean, I would take all the hate for it. You know what I mean?
It's kind of crazy that we're sitting here debating about Heung-Min and Lionel Messi in MLS and who's having a bigger impact. Like it's just wild to me. Like to see where our league is right now and to see the kind of talent that's coming in with it. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with you guys. When LAFC first started, we could have said, hey, Messi is going to come to MLS and Son will be in LA. Everybody would be like, y'all, what are y'all smoking? Y'all need to get off that California bud. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, they would. And now, for real, like, to your point, Messi can say, bring these guys here, and they come. A lot of people wouldn't have thought Miami had that team. They wouldn't have. You know, no one thought LAFC could get a Gareth Bale and a Giorgio Chiellini, and they definitely didn't think that they were going to get a Son. And look, no one thought Vancouver would have Mueller. Like, it is really – this league is growing, and it's pretty cool to see what is happening in MLS right now. Wouldn't you say, Will?
Yeah, but these guys, Son is on a different level than Bale or Chiellini because those guys were free transfers. A lot of people thought they were washed. They went and spent $27 million on this guy, and he would have had other suitors in big teams around Europe. And same with Messi. Messi could sign with any team in the world he wanted to. Mueller probably had a couple options in Europe still, but this is just different. Like, this guy is 33 years old. He's still as good as I've seen him play. And so it's not necessarily the name of the player. It's about what they got left in the tank when they come over here. And he has a lot left in the tank. And LAFC fans should be excited that Griezmann, like I said, didn't sign here, because if he had signed here, Son Heung-Min would have never came here and Olivier Giroud would have never left here. And it would be a whole different other story. So I think that all the short-term suffering pays off in the end.
It's a hard one for me to accept, fellas.
Hey, and I got to ask Andrew this because I asked you this the other night. How much better are you feeling heading into this playoffs versus last year? Because last year, the narrative was they can't score. There's no goal scoring from the 9. And if you can't score, it's going to be tough to make it to the final. Even though Dolo is still a fraud and he's ass, but they have these players that can elevate the team regardless of how bad he is. Wouldn't you say like the tone is just way different this year than last year?
The confidence level for that team is it's not even the same comparison. When I was going to playoffs games last year, I was like, oh, like maybe we'll get to play the Galaxy in the finals, or it is what it is. I'm going into these playoffs my heart's gonna hurt if we don't win this cup. Dolo has to realize to get out of his own way in these playoffs, and it's really what we wanted to see in these last two games was just let it rip. Let these goal scorers score goals. Let these players like Martinez that might shoot when you don't want them to shoot when we're in certain games. Let them try it in these last couple games. Like, open this up. Just don't go into these playoffs thinking like we can win 1-0 and we can park the bus. Like, oh, it's going to be 2 out of 3 against Austin. Like, sure. Like, let's play a defensive game. No, there is so much potential with this team to score 5-6 goals a game, and to see them held back. It's like we are so close to being rid of this and to being done with this. With Dolo, I can't wait. I'm so much more excited than I was last year for the playoffs, to answer your question.
100% more excited. And so to wrap this up, though, on the Colorado before we get into the Austin game, LAFC Colorado 2-2. Hugo had a bit of just a mishap, and people are like, oh, shouldn't you be mad at Hugo? And my answer, Andrew, was I'm not. Because to be fair, he made one mistake, you know what I mean? But the amount of help that he's gave LAFC this season to even put us in the position until we got Son, like, we would be way lower in the standings had we not had Hugo. Like, Hugo saved us a lot of games from losing, you know what I mean? And it was just a mishap. It was unfortunate, and I hate that he had to go through it. But the reality of it is that it happened, and we had to pick up and move on. The second goal I was more disappointed about, but the first one, I just had to chop it up as that's the one mistake that he made, and it was unfortunate when it actually happened.
Yeah. I think if we really picked it apart, that pass into the center of the goalkeeper box wasn't the best. It was a little heavy, where it kind of put everyone in a little in between zone. I think it shows a lot of who Lloris is as a captain, as a player, just to be like, hey, it's me. Sorry, but if it really came down to where it really had a significant impact, I think I don't know if I'd give it 100% to Lloris, but we're past it. That goal getting headed in, that's just nothing really anybody could have stopped as a goalkeeper. I think defense gets a little lazy. Like, it's just kind of our MO for our defense at a certain point that we lose focus, whether it's Tillman getting back there to help people or Segura coming back to help. It's going to be the name of the game in the playoffs, is outscoring people, not stopping other people's attacks.
Yeah. LAFC, yes, well, we did score 500 goals faster than any other team in the thing. And Maui Seltzer Pog, I got to try that. If y'all don't know what Pog is, it's absolutely delicious. And I need to get some of that seltzer. Will, what do you think, man? I mean, Hugo's helped us more than anything, and to go down on him and talk about how he's getting old and this and that. And I see what Pog just said. Yes, he did this at the Spurs and he did it at the French team, but he hadn't done a lot of mistakes like that for LAFC. He has saved us a lot this season.
Yeah, I think he's been like the one constant consistency for this team in 2025. Yes, he's not as athletic as he used to be. Yes, he's a little slower. Yes, he's made a couple mistakes. But the mistake that he made against Colorado, I mean, that's like once in a season type thing, or maybe even 2 seasons. He's not going to do that often, right? That was just a fluke thing that, set Paxton Aronson up with a layup, probably the easiest goal he'll ever score in his career. But I'm not worried about Hugo Lloris. I think that's the reason why this back five has been so good, because they know who's behind them. who's covering their 6, right? So I'm not worried about it. I think he'll be fine. And I mean, is there any other goalkeeper you'd rather have in MLS than him heading into the tournament? I don't think so.
Not me. And I'm already getting the crap talk to me about the comparison of the kids, but I'm just saying, man, facts are facts. You know what I mean? Like, I can't help it. LAFC plays against Austin. Are we worried about this playoff, Andrew? I mean, Will said it at the beginning of the show. We haven't won against them this season, but the difference is now we have our newest member, Mr. Sonny, that's going to go there and play. Well, first of all, it's going to be at BMO Stadium. Then we got to go there and play. We have we have 3 chances to win 2 out of the 3. I think LAFC takes it in the second, so then they could get some rest is what I'm hoping. But I believe that they're going to be pleasantly surprised when they see the dynamic duo between Bouanga and Son. Andrew.
Yeah, Austin's had some injuries this year. That this isn't going to be their best that they could put out all year. And that first game that they beat us at home this year, it was a random goal. Everybody was just kind of looking around at each other in the stadium when they did score. And it was just Dolo ball for the rest of it. The second game we played them last week, I don't think it counts. There wasn't really anything that we are as a team that was there in Austin. I do think that game next Wednesday night is going to be electric. It's not going to be like what they were used to this season. I kudos to them for beating us twice in a year. Not many teams can actually say that. So I will give them their credit when it's due there. But at the end of the day, when we're firing on all cylinders, that's not going to be the team that stops us. I do hope we just close it out in 2 games with Dolo. Who knows what he's going to do if we win 1 game and he wants it back at home or not. I would gladly take the rest, but that first game I think is going to set the tone for us for the playoffs, and I'm excited to see what that stadium is going to be like next Wednesday.
We win at home 3, losing Austin at 1, which forces a 3rd game. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I think that has Dolo written all over him. Win the first match, nonchalant for the second game, and just go back to LA and just kind of be content with it and win it in game 3 and not think it's a big deal. Yeah, I think that when you have 2 players who are not necessarily young, they're your best players, like Denis is 31 and Sonny is 33, and then these games they just played, we're talking about a 3-game series. It's already stupid. Like, it's the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life for soccer, but that's a whole different discussion. You want to take the 2 games, make it a 2-leg series, sweep them, take care of business. Now, will they do this? It's to be determined. I think that they'll definitely win the series, but I mean, are they going to beat them in 2 games? They should. I don't think it should be close. Austin's not that good of a team. They've had some injuries. Their coach is not very good. Nico Estevez, he's a reject from FC Dallas who got fired last year. They should run away with this. But is Dolo going to be that barrier that makes this go longer than it should? Maybe. I mean, that would probably be where my money is that Dolo's going to extend this longer than it probably should.
It's not what I want, though. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I want them to have that rest. If we are really talking about age and stuff like that, you got to worry about like Hugo's age and so on. Like, I'm just saying, like, I want it to be done in 2. Like, I really do. And so I don't want us to take off. If we see, let's just say we see Moran start, right? We see Smallskov start. We have the lineup that we want. We just absolutely murder them, go to Austin, and now we have Hollingshead and we have Tillman in there. I'm just going to throw my damn hands up and just say, well, I don't know what else to do. Like, I will literally hand my phone to my daughter and say, run away down the road. Whatever you do, just don't let dad have this phone because I'm going to say something that's going to get me in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? Like, I will probably fall off of the rocker. I will be drinking. I will be a nightmare to deal with. And I will come on this show and be even worse. You know what I mean? Like, I cannot have that happen, Will. Like, we have to have the best of Dolo just for this little playoff so he can ride off into the sunset. You know what I mean, Andrew?
Yeah, the only scary thing about me going into the playoffs was these last 2 games, Austin and Colorado, is you saw Tillman and you saw Hollingshead in both those lineups. And if you know Dolo ball, like I said to my wife, it's like, shit, like this is going to be who he rolls out in the playoffs. So, like this is what he's going to do, isn't it? And to see both of them in both those games just produce nothing for us, it's going to be in spite of Dolo is the theme of this year, the theme of the playoffs. And yeah, it's I need I need Dolo to not be Dolo for 6 games. Is it now? Like that's it. Like, is that such a small ask?
It's a big ask for us, Andrew. Like, look, we are some Dolo haters, and Will's on the board with us, but it's a tall ask for us to say, can you just put the lineup that we're all asking? I believe what Andrew is saying is true, Will. I believe that we've seen what the lineup is going to look like for the playoffs, and that's what worries me the most.
Yeah, I think it's going to be probably what we saw against in this final game against Colorado. That's probably what the starting 11 he's going to go with. And, the good news is that if LAFC were able to luck their way into an MLS Cup this year, that there's no way Dolo can keep his job because he's already said the farewell tour. So that's the good news, right? No matter what happens, he's gone. That's some positive, right? Because I think some fans were really kind of not necessarily rooting against the team, but kind of like, oh man, if we win that last year, oh God, that means Dolo's guaranteed to come back. I've been out on Dolo, Andrew, for, oh God, I don't know, almost probably like 2 years now. I've just seen so many failures, and I'm just like, the team could do better. Like, they're not winning because he's good. They're winning because the roster's good, and he's holding them back from their true potential. But he's going to be battle tested. There's going to be some hard games. The playoffs is not easy. It's not for the weak. You're going to have to play some. You're going to have to, have some games tactically where he's going to have to do something to outclass the other team. And the question is he going to be able to do that? I don't know, but we're going to find out.
Yeah, we're definitely going to find out. So what do you guys have the series at? So do you expect it to go the full 3, Andrew?
I expect it to be two games and done. That is the expectation for what this squad is. It'll be disappointing if it goes to 3 games, but nobody is going to beat LAFC 2 out. Well, let me rewind that. Austin FC isn't going to beat us 2 out of 3 with this team. And if they do, like you said, Nick, my phone is going to be thrown so far, and the meltdown that will be at that stadium, if that would be the goodbye to Dolo, is losing a game 3 at BMO. That would be the. I don't want to say it live. What it would be.
So, yeah. Will, do you have us winning the 2, or do you have us winning 1 and 1 and going to the 3rd?
I have it in 2.
Oh, you do? All right. Yeah. So, what's your score predictions for the first game at BMO Stadium? And it is going to be loud. It's going to be crazy. The Korean fans are going to be coming out like no other. So, I expect it to be a packed house. The tailgates are going to be fantastic. What do you expect the first game at BMO Stadium to be? Is it going to be a statement win, Andrew?
My prediction is going to be 4-1. I think 4-1 for being at home. I think in spite of Dolo that this team will open up and score a couple more than what he wants. I think that this defense can be a liability at times, even with Lloris and back. So, though Lloris broke his record or his own stats for the number of clean sheets with LAFC, that possibility always is there for me, especially if Hollingshead is going to be on the field trying to run back and forth up and down the left line the whole game. But I feel good with 4-1.
4-1 is what we would love to see. It sort of puts that momentum back in the way, gets them a little nervous about what we could do to them at their stadium. Will, I actually like a 4-1. What do you think, man? I mean, look, we have our blinders on. You're coming from the outside perspective. What do you have LAFC win in the first game at BMO Stadium?
I'm thinking like 3-0.
3-0, clean sheet.
Yeah, I don't think Austin FC really has that much firepower. I don't think they have a dynamic attack that can. I don't think they're going to be able to score. I don't think they're a good road team either. So I think 3-0. Could be 2-0. I'm not exactly sure what the attack's going to look like. If Tillman's out there, who knows? Might be 1-0. But I do think they're going to win. I think Sonny and Denis. Now, I want to say this too about Denis because I've been critical of him. I know he's special. He's good. He's quick. He's got to step up. It can't just be Sonny doing everything. He's going to have to play big in big games. That's one thing he has not done, and I've been very critical of him. I'm not talking about a play-in game to go to the Club World Cup. I'm talking about championships on the line. He needs to step up, and he needs to play well in these big games. So if he plays to his ability, I'm thinking 3-0.
Listen, I think that we will see the best out of Denis this playoff than we've ever seen him with LAFC. I honestly do. Because I like what I've seen those 6 games before they left to go to their national games. I thought he looked the best that he's ever looked with LAFC. He looked less stressed. He looked it wasn't Bouanga FC. It was a team effort. He was getting assists, also getting goals. They were sort of even trading off the hat trick for hat trick. Unselfish from all parties. Andrew, I believe, and I truly believe, and I want to know what you think. Do you believe – well, I believe that he will have the best playoff that he's ever had with LAFC. Do you believe that he is going to succeed, or we're just going to see that still struggling in a big game?
I believe he will succeed. I think you can kind of see the relief that he's felt the last 9 games for MLS. I think – to your question earlier, Will, about how do we feel last year about the playoffs? Last year at this time, it was going, who's going to step up and help Bouanga? Who's going to be that extra person for us?
Yep.
And that question doesn't exist anymore. So I do think without that pressure, I think the nerves will be there game 1 for everybody except maybe a select few. But I'm not saying he's going to take over these playoffs and he's going to establish, a hierarchy, put himself up in the name spot. But I think for LAFC that this will be the best playoffs for him so far.
I am going to put myself back out there again, guys, because I do think that they are going to run off with the playoffs. I truly do. I think that everybody will talk about the dynamic duo that I've spoke of for days and weeks on end since Sonny has got here. I believe that we have the best 2 players together on this team, and I don't believe that any other team can really touch them. And I believe that as long as Dolo stays out of the way and lets them play their game, no team can compare to what they have together because they make each other that much better. I truly believe it. And so you will see extra time and all these other people or whatever, the pre-show before, talk about how great he is. And then when you add the Morans in there and the Smallscoff and the Porches, I believe that is going to show their quality and that we should make it to the final and hopefully win it against Miami. I know it's crazy, Will, but I'm putting myself out there like this.
I mean, I don't want to say who I think is going to go to the final. I actually made a video about it today. You guys should go check it out and see who I got making it to the final.
You got LAFC in Miami. It better be.
No, it's not. It's not. You have to go see. You have to go see. But I think that they have a very good chance. I'll say this. They have a very good chance of making it to the final. I don't know who they're going to play if they make it because it's just so competitive and there's so many unpredictable things that happen in the playoffs. I mean, no one would have expected the Red Bulls to make it to the finals last year. They were like the 7th or 8th seed in the playoffs. Who knows, right? One bad game after this first round that's an absolute shit show of the 3-game series. Then it's just one off. You could have one bad game, you lose, and you're out. So who knows?
I hate that.
What?
I like it better than 3 games, though.
Yeah.
Well, I'd rather just all be one then. I don't want 3-1. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
they should go back to the 2-game aggregate if they're going to do the 3 games. They should just do that. Like, but you know, I don't know. I just, it is kind of a crazy change to go from one end to the other of the spectrum, right? You know, 3 games to 1 game. But, you know, there's a chance that LAFC have to play Vancouver in the second round, and they have to play at Vancouver on that terrible carpet that they call a pitch. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. And, you know, it's going to be tough, but you'll have to see. I'm not going to give any finals predictions other than I expect them to beat Austin pretty comfortably. That's what I'll say. But I do have a prediction video, and you got to check it out.
Yeah, make sure y'all go check
For
that
sure.
out. I want to see who he has now, because now he has me.
No.
Guys, thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. I mean, again, I say it every time. You guys could be anywhere, but you chose to be here, and we appreciate y'all doing that. Thank you so much. Will, thank you for always being here and stopping through with us. Andrew, appreciate you just being part of this Voice of the Black and Gold community. And big games, man. Big games. Playoffs are here, and this is the exciting time, man. You know, like you know, sometimes when I think about MLS, it's a bit of a bummer that it just doesn't end because you're the best team. But then when the playoffs comes around, I'm like, this is where it gets gritty and fun, you know? And so all the action really starts to happen now. And so I'm looking forward to it. Yes, it's unfortunate that it goes from 3 games to 1 game, in my opinion. But, hey, that's my opinion. You know, as long as LAFC makes it to the final and walks away with that cup, that's all I really care about. But at the end of the day, thank you all for being here. LA is still black and gold, no matter what. And so let's go LAFC. Let's get this win.